This is the Begin Within podcast, where we believe real, lasting health and fitness requires you to start inside before you work out. I'm your host, Nate Slegger, and I'm here to show you behind the scenes of fitness. You already know exercise is good for you, but what about all the other things in life that affect your fitness? If you're looking for extra motivation to get started or to make sure you keep going, this is the place for you.
Produced by BeginWithin.fit.
Improving health is about so much more than just losing weight. But I realize weight loss might be the goal that brought you here to the Begin Within podcast. That's why I wrote my latest book, 5 Ways to Stop Wrecking Weight Loss, to reveal the 5 areas that I see are most overlooked by the people that I work with who want to lose weight. Each one of the chapters in this free ebook describes that specific area that you need to focus on to improve your health and get great permanent results. And it also links back here to episodes of the podcast where we've had experts on the show talking about that specific area, so you can benefit from those previous episodes while you're learning about how to maximize the results that you're after. You can get your free copy of my ebook, 5 Ways to Stop Wrecking Weight Loss, by going to beginwithin.fit/ebook or going to the link in the show notes. Now is a great time to do a little multitasking while you're listening to the start of this episode. Head over to grab your free copy of my book, 5 Ways to Stop Wrecking Weight Loss. If you missed the URL, here it is again, beginwithin.fit/ebook, or there is a link in the show notes for you. Grab your copy, and now let's get on with today's episode. My guest today is Rachel Lavin. She is the author of the book, The Donut Diaries. She's also a speaker and a wellness coach. She helps people not only through the traditional means of improving health, but also through her coaching to help them have a better image of their own body. So she's here today. We're going to talk about body love, body image, and all things related to those topics. As we have this conversation, what I'd love for you to listen for is the power of our words. That's going to be highlighted again and again, not just the words that we think, but of course the words that we speak. The way we speak to ourselves is a big part of Rachel's work, and she's going to share that with us today, as well as some really practical things that you and I can begin to do in order to love the body that we have. So here's my interview with Rachel Lavin.
I spent the majority of that time just not having a healthy relationship with my body, not having a healthy relationship with food. I mean, diets were always on the table. And to top that off, I was a fitness professional. So I've been a fitness professional for over 20 years. And there was a lot of conflict going on inside me, how I had to look, how I wanted to look, how I wanted to eat, how I thought I had to eat. I mean, it was just a constant barrage of stuff in my own mind. And I think that living like that can just be not only overwhelming, but it can just kind of make you get further and further away of what you really want, right? So when I turned 40, I just was like, I want to be happy, but I know that I need to do some work to get there. And so I just kind of started that journey, which I've been on for the past 10 years. And that included, I didn't want to diet anymore, but how do I do that and not become, like in my mind, I was going to become this obese person. How do I exercise for it to feel good so I can actually move into my 80s and 90s? So it was a lot of like learning about Rachel. It was a lot about learning about not what I thought I knew, but what I didn't know, if that made sense. And so I just have been on this joyful, but I'm not going to lie, it's been tough at times journey. And I feel like I'm at a place where I'm at peace with all those things. And it's a wonderful feeling, but I also know that I do have my moments and I have my thoughts that kind of creep back in, but luckily I have enough positive things and enough good things to tell myself that those are just fleeting moments now, which is a lovely, lovely change. But I also know that this is something I'm going to be learning for the rest of my career. So I'm okay with that too.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I like learning I feel like learning is such a great destination, learning about ourselves. Anyway, um, I want to talk a little bit about your book. Um, I know that's been out for is 2 or 3 years now.
It was
Um,
released in October of 21. So yeah, we're coming up on 2 years.
okay, two. So, where did that come from? Tell me a little bit about the book. How did you come up with that?
The Donut Diaries is my story of what we just kind of talked about, which is
Okay.
here I was, here's where I wanted to be, and then how did I get there? And
Okay.
how do I stay there? Which is, I think, the most important thing. But as I was writing my book, I knew that it had to be my personal story, but at the same time, when a reader was done with my book, the one thing I wanted them to know was like, oh, thank God, I'm not alone anymore. So that was my goal as I was writing it. And now that I know it's out in the world and I'm definitely getting that feedback, I couldn't be happier about that.
Oh, that's awesome. I like that purpose, that just to connect with someone and help them to know like this is normal. Like you're not alone. Um,
Yes.
wow. Yeah. So, I know a big part of your message and the way that you help the people that you work with now is um your message about body love, body acceptance. Could you tell me a little bit about I guess your perspective and what that means to you?
Of course. For me, again, because this journey and this message is so personal, I think that a lot of words of the moment, that are buzzing around right now, body positivity, body neutrality, body, body,
Mhm.
which is fine and it's great. If it brings awareness, I'm not going to, poo poo it. But I realize that they are just words. And what you need and what we all strive is to love ourselves enough to take that chance to put on the clothes we want to wear, to be in that relationship or go for that job. It's a bigger thing than just looking at your body and being whatever size that you're in and saying, I'm happy with that. Well, that's great. And if that's true for people, then I'm very happy for you. But I knew that it was deeper for me. And I needed to unpack a lot of my traumas and figure out, why do I feel this way about my body? Why am I not putting this person out into the world and feeling all this stuff in the back of my mind? So it was a much bigger, I think, uncovering for me. And I feel like the more people that take that approach, it's more long lasting and you can really kind of do all the things that you want to do and not have that voice in the back of your head saying your body isn't good enough, you're not good enough. Those things just don't come to my mind anymore, which is really fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. So, tell me if I'm wrong. I'm just gonna kind of restate what I heard
Okay.
is for you, body love, or that message is about doing the things you want to do without having those voices in your head telling you that your body should hold you back from doing the things you really want to do. Is that right?
I would say that's right. I mean, listen, I think everybody's thoughts and journeys and how they approach life is different. But I do know how powerful that negativity can be and
Mm.
how it can hold us back from taking a chance or taking a risk because we don't feel like we deserve it. So to me, loving your body starts on the inside. I hope that was a little more clear.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And we love that. Begin within. That's what we're all about here.
Yeah.
So, loving your body starts on the inside. I like it. So, yeah. So, the question that comes up for me then is how do you do it? Like, how do you start it? What's the, and maybe it is just unique for everybody, but is there, is there a process to it? Is there a, are there some steps that you'd recommend someone take if they're, if they know those negative messages are really affecting how they're showing up?
Absolutely. Again, I love the way you said, it is different for everyone, but the women I work with, it's a conversation when I first meet you. It's like, okay, what is the one thing that you think every single day? And 10 out of 10 times, my body is to this. And it's always a negative connotation. So we begin very simply and say, you're going to say one nice thing about your body for 1 week straight. And I have found in the years I've been doing this that it doesn't help to think it. You have to say it out loud. So if that means putting your, and we can call it an affirmation, I really don't care. But if you can put that on a hot pink Post-it, put it somewhere that you look every single day. And for men, we can put it on a blue Post-it, whatever you want. But say it out loud for 1 week straight, whether it's one time a day, 10 times a day, 100 times a day. I really don't care. But start to kind of feel and see the transition that it makes in your mind, where you initially want to say something negative about your body. It's going to make you pause and say, wait, everything I'm saying about myself, I can turn that around. And then we start talking about where and why and when did you start to feel and think this way. And that's where it can kind of get pretty heavy, but that's where we need to go.
I'm just taking some notes. That's good. Um, I like that. It's not just something you think, you have to say it. Um, and I guess a question I had initially, I have a couple, well, I have a bunch of questions for you now. Um, how do you design that phrase, the positive, the affirmation? Is that just, hey, give me something positive about your body, or are there some parameters to it? What do you find?
I like to start with something about their physicality, because if you have a conversation with these people, it tends to be something that they can instantly pull. I hate my arms. I hate that. I hate whatever. And it
Okay.
usually is something physical. So that's what I personally start with a new person, something physical. And then we can get like, I am enough. I am smart. I mean, for one thing, and I'm sharing with your audience, I had a tough time throughout my teenage years and my early child or early woman years, because is that a word? Is that an expression?
Yeah.
Because I never trusted my mind. I never felt like I was smart. And so for me, I always kind of didn't engage in things that would cause me to have a conversation with people, because I didn't think I could carry a conversation. So that was one thing I really had to create for myself, was like, you are smart, you are good enough, you are capable of talking to another human being. So whatever the thing is that I think most people focus on, is best to say those positive things to yourself, say them out loud, start taking some steps to make yourself feel like you can do the things you don't think you can. And another thing I will say is that um, I lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
We'll
If it
go
comes
back to
back, yeah, let me know. I was curious about, uh, you mentioned that it it will go after those affirmations get kind of established, that you'll start to help someone to kind of unpack, like, how did this get started? Where did this get started, in their life? And my curiosity was like, where does it get started? Like, are there some common things that you hear, some common ways that starts to show up for somebody? What might they
absolutely.
be?
The interesting thing I'm finding in pretty commonality between the women I'm working with is it was either something that a parent said, or a caretaker type person in their life at the time said
Mm,
on repeat,
okay.
or it was somebody it could have even been a stranger, a partner, a boyfriend, a husband, or whatever, that said something to you one time that completely just broke you in your head and in your heart. And then you took that forward as your truth. And it is so, especially in those formative years, if you've got a little girl or little boys at home and you're constantly talking about your body, like, mommy's going on a diet, mommy can't eat that, whatever it is, please, please, please know that your kids are hearing that. And before you know it, don't be surprised when your 8-year-old daughter comes to you and is like, Mom, I'm fat. I want to go on a diet too. Because that's how it works. It's just things that they're seeing and absorbing and repeating. And that's what it was for me. I mean, all the women in my family were constantly dieting, constantly talking about food that they can't and can't eat. And we're Hispanic, so we're always going to have this kind of body. And it's just like all the lies that are perpetuated, and you end up taking them on as your story. And it's super hard to break that. It really is. I mean, it takes some effort.
Yeah. Well, I guess as I'm listening, I'm thinking about the responsibility that rests on probably parents, caregivers. I mean, like you said, it could have been anybody. So, um, just in terms of the words that we use and being very careful about them because they're so powerful.
And just to really quickly add on to that,
Yeah.
I couldn't even I can't imagine being a young person in today's society where we even have TikTok and Instagram and all the
Yeah.
social media that's inundating us with diets, workouts, bodies. I mean, thank God I didn't have social media when I was growing up, because who knows where we would be right now.
Yeah. Wow. I guess with the fact that those are there and so heavily used, even by young people in the formative years, like you mentioned, um, what are your thoughts on it? Like, what's the best way to help people, help especially young people, to put it in the right context, or is it to have supervised use, or I guess what are your thoughts on it?
I mean, I think all the above sounds like a great idea, but I think more importantly, the open conversation between parents and the kids of what they're seeing. Let's not shame them for what they're looking at, but let's have an open, honest conversation about it. It's like, this girl who's living her best life is, got a chef. She's got
Yeah.
like disposable income. She has a personal trainer. She has all these things that are helping her to look like that. So let's dispel reality from fake, I guess.
Mhm.
That's what, there's a meme that goes around, or maybe not necessarily a meme, but a saying. It's like, on social media, people love to put forth their happy life and their happy days, but they're definitely not posting about the times where they're struggling or it's a hard day. So, also too, let's put some perspective on that.
Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna use a filter to look at it through, so let's make sure it's a real one, right? And not the one that the people putting out that content necessarily want us to look at it through. Yeah, it can be an imaginary life that we just see snapshots of, right? Hmm.
Yeah.
I like that. So the importance of conversation. I feel like the theme here so often is like the power of words, the power of positive words, as you're helping create that positive, more positive view of uh, someone's body and their own mind, the power of the negative words that might have gotten them there, and the power of open conversations about the whole process, especially for young people in their formative years. So awesome.
Another thing I'd love to add is, even if it's you've already experienced this and you've already got some thoughts about your body, or some people in your life that are, a little bit obsessed about bodies in general, a favorite mantra of mine, and it's perfectly kind to say to another person, is that my body is not up for discussion. And I think that that is so empowering. And if I would have had that language when I was younger, I wonder what would have been different for me. But to be able to say that to someone who is a prominent figure in your life, to set that boundary is super important. And it's really never too early to do that.
Nice. Thanks for adding that. That's great. Um, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you and follow your work or book a session with you?
Please find me Rachel Lavin Wellness on, that's my website name, but I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And my book is also on Amazon, which you can click on through my website. So please come find me. I mean, even if you're not looking for a coach or you just want to have a conversation about this, my door is always open.
Okay, awesome. RachelLavinWellness.com. We'll have a link in the show notes. Rachel Lavin, thanks for your work. Thanks for sharing yourself with us here and for a great conversation. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, Nate. Appreciate you.
Links are, of course, in the show notes for you to be able to connect with Rachel Lavin. If you enjoyed our conversation, here are some other episodes of the show that I think that you'll really enjoy. Two of my interviews with Allie Cass when she was on the show. I think you're going to enjoy those. One, going back in time here, starting with the most recent, was episode 101 with Allie Cass. That was behind the scenes of the Ideal Physique. Also, she came on episode 84, why you need to clean up your language. You can see the connection to my discussion today with Rachel on that one. And then also back on episode 71, that was one of the times I had Joanne Edinburgh as the guest. The title of that one was Ending the Quest for the Perfect Body. So those might be some interesting ones if you want to continue down this road, if you feel like it will benefit you. Episode 101, episode 84, and episode 71. Go check those out and continue on to benefit from the experts that I've had here on the show. Now, before we wrap up, I just want to go back to that first powerful step that Rachel mentioned for us to do. And that was just to say one nice thing about our bodies every single day. And to say it out loud. Say it out loud. We might have many, many thoughts, many negative thoughts about our bodies, especially as we're on, if we're on a health and we're on a wellness, a fitness journey, we're trying to make changes. There might be a lot of negative thoughts about things that we don't like, things that we'd like to change. How about this? How about we just keep those inside as much as we can, and we verbalize something positive every single day. So that's our action step. But just give it a try. I'd love to know how it goes for you, what shift happens for you as you put that really important piece into practice in your daily life. Of course, the question is, when are you going to do it? What are you going to say? And what are you going to do to celebrate having taken that step each and every single day? Just try it maybe for the next week. How about that? Could we give that a try and just see what happens? See what begins to shift for us. I'd love to know how it goes for you. You can send me a direct message on any social media platform where you connect with me. Let me know how it goes. Of course, I would love also for you to rate and review the show and share it with somebody that you care about, who you know would benefit. Thanks so much for being here with me today on the Begin Within Health Show. I will talk with you again soon. Keep up the good work, taking better and better care of yourself.